This time on the channel, we're installing the windows, vent windows, regulators, everything you need to put the windows in. So let's get started. Also, if you're new to the channel, be sure to check out the rest of the channel, hit that like button and subscribe. Alright, so in this episode we're putting in the windows, which is a little more difficult on a coupe than on a convertible, because a convertible doesn't have a door frame on the top. The window just comes right out. On the coupe, the order that you put stuff in is a little more specific. So we're going to go through that here, and then I'll tell you about some of the little tips and tricks I found along the way. So let's get started. So the first thing you want to do is put in this upper channel, and I bought mine. They come in two different ways. They either come completely assembled with this bit of the fuzzies, and then there's a bracket down below. If you don't, I didn't really trust that it would line up just right, so I bought it separately, and then I attached it myself. The only issue I had with the lower bracket is there's a single clip on the bottom that broke, that snaps into the side here. So to replace it, I used, it's in a very tight area, so you can't get to it. So I used one of these little rocker molding clips, or these clips are used in all kind of different places. So I used one of those clips on both sides because both of those clips snapped. So I pinched it there, and if you really wanted to, you could put a screw in there. But I put a little bit of sealant there, and that should keep it nice and tight. So I put that in first, and a good tip with this upper fuzzy is it has those little green snap clips. So what I did is I took a pair of pliers and I squeezed them in just to pinch them in a little bit, and I put grease on them. And then you can either push them in by hand, or you can take a socket and put the socket on the back side here and push. And then you work it the whole way around, and you get your corners and everything so they're nice, and it should fit nice and flush. Once you have that installed, it's time to put in this lower bit of trim and this window seal that goes on the outside of the door. If you make sure you don't damage the old one, because for coupes, I don't think they're available. They're available for convertibles though. But a good tip is that you need to go to Corvette Central and buy this seal from them. Don't get it from anybody else, because the replacement style seal is terrible. It's too long, none of the holes line up. What you want to do is buy the correct seal for your year of car. They have a 63 one specifically. So you buy that, install it, and the old ones are pretty toasty. So I got some new ones, and this is a replacement style piece. It's extruded rubber, where the original one was inside the rubber. The steel part was inside the rubber. This one is 4 holes, this original one is 6, and the end holes don't even line up, and they're just a complete wrong length. There's nothing right about them. So I looked online, and the company that, I don't know if they make them, but they sell them, the only correct ones, 63 only, is Corvette Central. So I bought a set of those, and they just have end holes in them, so then you just have to match drill to your stainless trim. Don't re-drill them in the car. That's bad. So I just set up a clamp here to keep my distance, and every time I drill a hole, I'm just going to put another one of these bolts in and go down the line. And then instead of stapling them like they would have originally been, I'm just going to use weather strip sealant, because I don't want to mess the stainless piece up, because I don't like these. And install this with the correct hardware. The hardware was having a problem on that door working because the screws are short, so I used a different screw for that. So now that these are installed, at any time you can put the regulator in. It doesn't matter in the sequence of this seal or that seal. I cleaned the regulator up, re-greased everything, slid it in through the door. I installed this lower track, and that's where you want to stop on the internal installation until you have your vent window rebuilt. And you can put in the new fuzzies And the new seals, to do the new seals, I'll do a video on how to do the vent window restoration. But you have to remove this rivet to replace the seals on this guy. Then once you do that, you snake the vent window. You snake the vent window down through the door. It's a good idea to put some tape down just in case you make a little chip like I did. But there's a very small pocket that you can slide the vent window down from the inside of the car. You kind of slide it in this area here. You snake it in and you rotate it as you go down. And it's a good idea to leave this stud off because it won't fit through there, first of all. So you kind of get it most of the way down there, and before you get it home, you put that stud on here from the back side. You kind of snake it down, then it'll fall into place. So I put the lower bar in, greased them up, rolled the window down first. Just leaving everything loose. Next, you take your window glass, get it cleaned up, and you slide it in at an angle, starting with the back, leaning towards the inside of the car. You snake it in through this channel, and meanwhile, we don't have this back channel installed yet. So you snake it starting with the back, and you lead the front end away from this track. So right in that slot there, slide it down, bring it down as far as you can until this glass falls into this channel, and you pull it back up. Now my glass was so tight when I did this that the glass would stay up by itself. When you pushed it up, you couldn't pull it, you had to jam it up. And then after that, you can install the back channel, which you kind of have to snake it in backwards, up. And then it was really tight on this one, but it went in easy on that one, sliding it across the bottom. Slide it across the bottom and you get your two screws to line up on that side. So I'm installing the felt on the rear window tracks. So all I'm using is just the Corvette America. I think it's actually a 3M product. The glue, and I just roughed this up and I'm just spraying this side and this side, letting it tack up and installing it. I'm doing half at a time, that way I keep it square in the middle of the track and it goes a certain distance down before it hits this stop on the back. So I'll finish this one up and do the other one. So once you have that, if you have a manual window, or if you have a manual regulator or power regulator, that's where it gets different. Or if your car has power. This car doesn't have power, so I had to use that little box. Just wanted to show you my rig while it's out of the car. So I have the original wire from the power window harness, and whenever the car was ripped apart, whenever they stole it, they cut the wires off here at the door and just ripped it off. So it gave me a good jump lead to use. I wanted to do it because I wanted this connector on the end. So here's your two positives. They're the green and the tan, and then black's obviously ground. So I just separated them here with the different colors on the back of my little switchboard. So tan is down, green is up, and black is ground. So, and I just have a 12-volt power supply, and it just has the two leads. So I just have to switch them back and forth between up and down. I just leave ground attached. And you can't snake this through the main hole, so that's why I disassembled it. Although I think I took it through the big hole, so I guess I didn't have to do it that time. Oh well. Oh well, so I'll install this now, rewire it, and move the regulator down. But if your car has power or a manual regulator, it's no problem. You just wind the regulator up to use this hole and this hole to put the two the two nuts on the bottom of the track. So then another issue is that if you put all new fuzzies in the car, most likely your glasses are going to be way too tight. So a good tech tip is to hose everything down with silicone spray. And my glass right now is still not hooked up to the regulators. I just have everything sitting in here because I need to get more silicone spray and just grab the window and move it up and down, up and down, up and down, because it's so tight. It's loosened up a good bit, but it still needs to be worked over some more. So that's the trick to putting the glass in. It's really not that bad once you start on it and you take your time and put tape everywhere. It comes together pretty quick. So if you're patient, it'll work out in the end. And it looks good. Once the glass is up, it does look good. And I think I need to get some butyl rubber and pack it in here, because there's kind of there's a big hole right here, so I might pack that full of something just to help seal it up a little better. And then after this I have to put the trim but I think on here, but I think I'm going to wait till I get the windshield in it. So that's going to do it for now, I think. But I'll give you a sneak peek under here, see what I've been working on. Got some brake parts I'm working on. Oh, I also forgot to show, I just got some hubcaps today. They're used and they're pretty well used, like it has the original spinners and spokes, everything. Those are a little pitted, but on camera it probably looks pretty nice right now. It looks pretty good in person. I just wanted to get some hubcaps on it just to change up the view, even though these wheels are going back on that car. But that's going to do it for this video. If you enjoyed, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. That little button down here somewhere around me has a face on it, so click that and that'll subscribe, or hit the little red subscribe button down below. We have a lot of other videos coming for the 63, some for the 65, and some at the body shop on the 60 Corvette, so be sure to check those out. And next on this car, I think I'm going to be doing a brake job. I pulled the trigger and I ordered a radiator and everything else to plumb the coolant system on the car. I ordered the rest of the stuff for the ignition shielding, for the ignition system, except the coil. I have my original one down there and I tested it and it's no good. So I have to order a coil, battery cables, got to get a battery, air cleaner, and I have 63 gauge cluster rebuild, which is in really, really nice shape. So between all that stuff, and I have to get my starter cleaned up, the car should be running pretty soon. And hopefully, and I put other hubcaps on this side. Those are for my dad's car. But hopefully, we'll get it running soon. And with the brakes, maybe we'll get it stopping and just get a steering column in it. We'll get it turning. So it's actually not that long till it starts driving. But I got a lot of work to do, as you can see. So I'll catch you guys later.